and Robbo.
It's the most talked about TV show that's not on TV.
And I think you guys are amazing.
With raw, honest opinions.
This was not a mistake. This was a lie.
Exclusive stories.
Some industry insiders have been talking about this.
Is that a Ben, Rob and Robbo exclusive?
And plenty of famous faces.
I'm not wasting these gold moments on 60 Minutes.
The Ben, Rob and Robbo Show is the new way to stream your news.
This is the stuff that headlines are made of.
Live every Monday to Thursday at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on Ticker TV or Facebook and Twitter at BRR Show. Watch live or on demand.
Ben, Rob and Robbo.
Streaming across the globe, Ben Norris, Rob McKnight and David Robinson.
Ben, Rob and Robbo. News, entertainment. It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo. Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.
Welcome to the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Here's Rob McKnight.
Hello, and welcome to the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. I'm not saying that I'm scared, but I just got in trouble for Amanda for being too loud. Hello, Ben and Robbo. Tipsy Thursday.
Yeah. It's a crime that you've commonly been charged with, I've got to say that. So
I didn't even see what happened, and I agree with Amanda.
Of course you do. You all will. I may have done it. The opener was rolling and I was being stupid and I went, ah! And Amanda went, oh my God. Yeah.
I've heard that,
Amanda,
oh my God, before.
Amanda, I just want to ask, what's it like living with
Oh
so many girls in the house?
Not as bad as living with Rob.
I was including him in on the girls, but anyway, good job.
I got you, gang. Robbo, it's certainly a big show today, but before we begin the show, I have an announcement. We are going on the road. Now that the borders are down, we are going to be coming together for a whole week of the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show on location, week commencing the 14th of December, and you can join us. We are going to be coming from a place in Queensland that I'm going to reveal on Monday. All will be revealed on Monday, but you can actually come and be with us, have accommodation with us, have drinks and dinner with us and get to know us, and we get to know you if you want to come to the Gold Coast on the week commencing the 14th. So we will be doing 3 days at Ashmore and 1 day in Brisbane. So the Ashmore is going to be a bit of a party if anyone wants to come along.
Okay, just
Very
are we calling it
exciting.
the national? What's it called? National Lampoon's Griswold's Vacation.
Indeed,
Like that,
and we're also going to have a special code that anyone who wants to stay with us will get a 15% discount. This is huge.
Oh, I thought you said you were paying
is
for
massive.
everyone.
No, this is great. You're coming up. Yeah,
awesome.
I'm ignoring that, Ben, because me paying, that doesn't sound right. You're overruled.
Oh, the gavel's back. He's found his gavel.
I found Amanda found the gavel and tried to hide it, but I found it again.
No, this is really exciting news. It'll be great that it'll be actually the first time that we're ever all together, on the same set, which will be really exciting. It'll be great to meet people. It'll be great to get out of the garage, if I've got to be honest with you. So it'll be fantastic. Very excited to see you.
Indeed,
boys.
and once I've got all the details about the offer code and everything like that, we will announce it all on Monday. We will put the details up, but week commencing the 14th is when we're doing it. That is locked in. A good friend of ours has invited us along to do it from his park, and as I say, I will reveal all the details on Monday, or I'll probably get too excited and reveal it on the Facebook page over the weekend. Anyway, there is a lot to come up, including Joe Casamento is back with her movie segment. But first, let's get into our hot button issues of the day. And the waves from a devastating report into alleged Australian war crimes continues to reverberate around the country. The former chief historian of the Australian War Memorial is calling for its chair, Kerry Stokes, to step down. Peter Stanley worked at the memorial for 27 years and has said that in light of Mr. Stokes' response to the report, he should resign. Kerry Stokes, who is also the head of Seven West Media, has been in the chair since 2015, but so far has not publicly been critical of those in the report. In fact, he's gone the other way, offering soldiers a cash fund to use in their legal defence. You know, Robbo, isn't everyone innocent until proven guilty? Doesn't Kerry Stokes have the right to support those facing criminal investigations? That is either
he
the
still
longest
thinking?
pause in history or Robbo's having some internet issues there. Ben, I'll throw the question your way while Robbo works himself out. Don't you think that Kerry Stokes has the right to help those in their legal defence?
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I think that's basically what's happening here. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how it's going to play out. That's for sure. What are your thoughts, Mr. McKnight?
Well, here's one of the interesting things that Ben Roberts is having to face some court cases. He has put up his Purple Heart as collateral for Stokes funding his efforts in the courtroom and against these criminal charges for Corporal Ben Roberts. And basically, if Ben Robert Smith can't pay this back, he will have to forego his Purple Heart. And Kerry Stokes has said he will then donate that to the War Memorial. So what he's doing is allowing the person at the centre of some of these allegations to defend themselves. And I actually don't think that's a bad thing. I just don't understand why this would be an issue. At the end of the day, if he's found guilty or if anyone's found guilty, that's the way it is. But Kerry Stokes is following due process. I just don't understand why this is possibly an issue and why he should have to step down.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. But who's the people that are who are they facing criticism from?
The former chief historian of the War Memorial. And when you see something like that, you start to wonder, well, is this something to do with the fact that this guy was in the job? Maybe he had a fallout with Stokes. I don't know. But I just don't think it's a conflict of interest for Kerry Stokes to actually say, no, I'm going to help him fund him. Corporal Ben Robert Smith actually works for Kerry Stokes. He's the general manager of 7 Queensland, or at least was. Robbo, there really is no issue here, is there, or do you disagree with me?
I totally disagree. I think that if you're the chair of the Australian War Memorial, I think that you kind of have to have a little bit of impartiality. Also, Kerry Stokes has always been very passionate about Australians in war and the different wars that we've fought in. For him to come out and say just straight away, "Oh, look, I'm just going to give you, millions of dollars in your defence," has said nothing about the people who lost their lives. This is a 4-year report. This is not like just something that's just kind of, happened in a week and they've gone, yeah, I reckon something happened. It's pretty bloody clear that something really bad happened.
He's entitled to defend himself, and Kerry Stokes hasn't come out and said, I believe these people are innocent. What he's doing is facilitating them to have a defence. I just don't understand the problem.
Well, I think it's if he was not the head of the chair of the Australian War Memorial, I think that would be a little bit different. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But the fact that he's the chair of that very hallowed place, that place that's very important to a lot of people, he's now going, well, essentially to me, he's saying, well, war crimes are all right. We've got to look after our own boys.
He's not. No.
That's my opinion, Rob. That's what I'm seeing here. He has not come out, as the head of the Australian War Memorial, he should come out and say that it was disgusting what happened. If it's proven to be correct, then that is awful. We've got such a great history in this, all of those kind of things. The only thing he's done and says, don't worry, boys, we've got a couple of mil for you. We'll sort this out for you. I don't think that that's right.
I think it's really unfair. He's allowing due process, and he is a friend of diggers, and he has done a lot of good for the War Memorial. He's donated millions and millions of dollars worth of medals and things to the War Memorial. And now he's giving back to the diggers that have been over there. What if some of these diggers have been caught up and are actually not guilty? Defence costs money. Why shouldn't he help these people? I think you were offline, but I pointed out to Ben Robert Smith is putting up his Purple Heart as collateral, so that if he can't pay Stokes back the money, i.e. if he goes up this and doesn't win and doesn't get awarded costs, he will have to give Stokes the Purple Heart, who has already said he would donate it to the War Memorial. I don't understand why...
I think it would... No. If Robert Smith was found guilty... the Victoria Cross would no longer be valid. So you couldn't donate it to the War Memorial because it was taken off of him because he was charged with war crimes. So it's weird that he's saying that he'll give it as collateral because it'll be worthless if he's charged with war crimes, because all of his medals will be stripped from him, and he no longer earned that award. So it is just the Victoria Cross with no one's name on it. Makes no sense.
Well, which Stokes would still donate to the War Memorial, and I take your point about the stripping of the medals. But I just don't have a problem with Stokes helping these people out who deserve due process just like any other person. I just don't see the problem.
Like the Afghans got due process.
Yes, but we're taking criminal charges here. What you're actually doing is declaring these people guilty before there's been due process, and I think they are all entitled to due process. And then if they're found guilty, throw the book at them, publicly name and shame them, discharge them, put them in jail, whatever the outcome is, but you're still entitled to defend yourself. That is a free society.
Yeah, but what we've got here that doesn't help the narrative that we're getting around the world, and that is an old white man saying, oh, we're going to look after our own boys, blah, 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 and hasn't even come out and said, as the chair of the Australian War Memorial has said, how awful these charges are. I'll take your point that he can help to defend them with that money. Geez, it would be nice, though, to see the head of the Australian War Memorial condemn these acts.
Which, if they're found guilty, I'm sure he will, but I'm not going to speak for Kerry Stokes, and neither should you or anyone else. All right, let's move on. Even if at the top of the Christmas good list, don't bother going all out on presents for your kids' teachers. The New South Wales Department of Education has updated its gift policy, which states clearly that no cash or EFTPOS cards are to be accepted, and if a gift is, it strictly must be under the value of $50. Parent groups, they're not happy with the situation because they say they want to reward teachers after what has been a shocking year. Ben, the department has said anything over $50 or giving cash could easily amount to being considered a bribe. Do you reckon that's fair? Do you think teachers are being bought off? Oh, I'll give little Johnny an A. He's only worth a D, but I'll give him an A because Daddy gave me $50 and a carton of beer.
Well, I was brought up by a mother who was a primary school teacher who worked, public schools, and I don't remember her getting anything more than a box of chockies. Like, I don't understand.
I know the pressure's on, right, for parents. I thought giving a $5 card or something was good enough. Now I've got to be given $50 gifts.
Well, Rob, we know that you're definitely
not going to fail.
No, we know that your kids are going to fail if it came down to the Christmas gift that you give the teachers, that's for sure. But I will say, in this day and age, we have to start to think about things a little bit differently about the people that actually do have the money to be able to corrupt the system. And, we saw that overseas with what had happened with some of those Hollywood actresses, foregoing huge amounts of cash for the bias of, getting their children into universities. And there is an unfair disadvantage, I guess, these days when people are, doing, I guess, the wrong thing by offering certain amounts of money, for their children to look better. It wouldn't surprise me if that kind of stuff's, slipping into this country. But at the end of the day, do teachers deserve, to be capped with those presents at $50? I think if people want to give their teachers, a weekend away, that would seem a little odd. But I think the teachers would take it.
Indeed. Robbo, what do you think? Would you try to bribe a teacher with a gift, or is this just something nice to do? Are we overthinking this?
I don't think we're overthinking it. And also, I never gave a present to a teacher. I've never heard of this kind of silliness.
Yeah, but no one needed to bribe anyone. You're smart. You were smart at school, Robbo. Like, you didn't need your parents to jump in.
I've got to say, I agree with Robbo. Amanda said to me, we've got to do presents for the teachers. And I went, what? Why? And she said, they've been great. And I went, yeah, but that's what they're meant to do.
That's their full-time job. I think a Christmas card is nice. I always gave a Christmas card.
Yeah, I actually said, get the kids nice to draw a Christmas card. It's a thought that counts.
Just to let you know, I've got really good friends that are all teachers, and I don't know, maybe it's lunch hour at their job at the moment, but they're just letting me know to put a public announcement out that all primary school teachers, especially women, like white wine, and give them lots of white wine.
Okay, and you know what? I've found out in the last week or so that people at my kids' school are now watching this show. So I think we should give the teachers everything, hundreds of dollars worth of presents, and my gift is love.
Okay.
But isn't it bad? I like that. But isn't the thing? It should be they should be bribed at the start of the year, shouldn't they? Why would you bribe them at the end of the year? They often change teachers. It
Robert,
should
isn't
be
that
Australia
like tipping?
Day presents.
Like, when you're in a hotel, shouldn't you tip at the beginning of your stay to say, here you go, look after me, rather than at the end? Because then, you know, if you do a good tip, they'll give you special treatment all throughout.
You've obviously never lived in America, because I lived in Los Angeles for a while, and you know you got used to making sure. And this is a good one. And I was told this before I even got there. When you go into the bars, give them a really large tip for the first drink that you buy, and then they just, because they free pour in the States, which is really dangerous, let me tell you, many a night that I can't remember because of this, but you give them lots of tips at the start and they will top up your drinks. And that's the same thing in America. Tip them right at the start and you get better service, you know, but we just don't have that tipping system here in our country.
Yeah. Good advice when you're in the States. Not that any of us are going to the States soon, because who'd want to go there at the moment? Well, look, a series of magpie attacks in Gippsland, Victoria has resulted in the culling of the native birds. 2 magpies thought to be responsible for 5 attacks, including 2 victims who needed eye surgery, have been euthanised after approval by the Victorian Department of Land, Water and Planning. And look, a warning, some may find the following image we're about to show confronting, but I think we need to show it. The first man who needed surgery is still recovering. He can only make out shapes and may need a lens implanted. He has said he believes the bird has learnt a bad habit that cannot be changed and it needed to be euthanized. The second victim was having a coffee when the bird attacked her, resulting in multiple surgeries. A professor of animal behaviour has said it was unusual to see these attacks outside of breeding season and that it was likely due to a loss of habitat and food as a result of human intervention in inaction. She has said there are other options such as removal and rehabilitation, and said that killing is never the answer. Robo, aren't humans the priority here?
Yes, they are. Look, it's been known that magpies will remember, and they also pass on that knowledge generationally. So if you've got kids who throw stones at you know some magpies, those magpies will then understand they've got to protect themselves. They will swoop, and then that is passed on to their offspring. Look, I do like the idea of being relocated. I think that's a good idea, because when you think about what the cost surely would be to locate the bird, to capture the bird, to euthanize the bird, all of those things would surely add up to a pretty penny. And I can't imagine that catching it and just not doing the final thing, but just driving it, you know, maybe 40 k's or something into the bush would be a better way to do it. But at the same time, I am freaked out by swooping birds. I cannot handle it. And it always has been an idea of mine, or a fear of mine, that they would get your eyes. Now, this particular bird has done it too many times. So I'm sorry. Your eyes are one of the most important. We're not talking about a peck on the head or anything. These are people's eyes. So, yeah, this bird, unfortunately, if they're not going to go down the relocation track, he had to go back into the big heaven, the big bird heaven.
That's it, isn't it, Ben? You know, humans are the dominant species on the planet. If you get in our way, you're out. You know, like, off with their head. You know, like, I have a major problem when we're expected to walk down the street and be... And it's like...
Your eyeballs.
Yeah, eyeballs.
Yes.
And, you know, Abby said to me, she said, well, wear a helmet, take protection. You know what? I've reached a point in my life where I don't have to have protection on me all the time.
Hold on. Wear a helmet when you're having your lunch outside of a supermarket.
Exactly.
What the hell?
So, Ben,
No.
I'm sorry, but if birds are swooping, you got to get rid of them. You got to take them out.
Yeah, I lived in central Queensland, and we had a huge problem with magpies up there. And you just had to work out ways to live with them, and no one was going to kill them. I think that seems wrong. And whilst I was on breakfast radio, so we actually got in contact with a bird relocator, and he was relocating the birds, which was really quite successful. So he also had created this bird hat, which deterred birds from coming to get you, which a lot of people in areas, were actually wearing. So, look, I think there's ways of being able to do this without actually having to kill the animals. And just because we're the mightiest species doesn't mean that we have the right to kill them. And
What's
thank
the
you
point
to
of
the
being
animal
dominant species if you can't
conservationists
kill
who
things?
took me to say that.
No, I'm being facetious. I'm being facetious.
The show is not sponsored by the RSPCA, that's for sure. Okay.
No, I really am. But it bugs me when, I remember when I took my younger brother out for a walk one day and he did a pee under a tree and and that pee cost him stitches because he got pegged by a magpie.
No.
He was like 8 at the time. Yeah, seriously. He did a wee under the tree and ended up having to get stitches for his troubles. And I thought,
Wait, on the doodle?
no, on his head.
Rob, can I ask
thought
you?
you meant that. Well, I didn't understand why the pee part of that story was important because I thought he said it twice that he was peeing under the tree, and I thought, what, is that what? And you weren't saying it, so I thought, is that what he's saying? So he was just under a tree.
Oh, that's a better
and
story.
then he got
Yeah.
swooped.
Sorry, Michael. The story is now that you got peckered on your pecker.
That's what I thought you were saying.
What is going on? I just want to know, Rob, when's this really exciting book of yours coming out? Because I think you've got some really interesting stories in the back catalogue that you've been keeping from everybody. That one's amazing. That should be the trailer for the book, I think.
The peck on his pecker. All right. Well, the festive season is approaching, but it seems not all are feeling the Christmas spirit. One household, known for their extravagant holiday lights, has received an anonymous threatening letter from a fed-up neighbour writing the letter. In the letter, they said, "It is a disgrace and the traffic and noise is down. Right annoying. I am advising you to not do a big eyesore of a display, otherwise there will be hell to pay." Oh, they rhymed. And they even threatened to call the police. After posting it online, many offered to help decorate the entire street in retaliation, but the resident has ultimately decided to tone it down. Oh, Ben, nothing gets my goat like someone who's big and mighty and anonymous.
I love these. I love letters like this. I mean, I just think they're funny. Like, I get letters every now and again from the neighbours.
They've intimidated the person. They've intimidated
really
them.
awful.
And look, we are having a laugh, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but
That's okay. That's on brand.
pot kettle.
I have to talk loudly to get over the top of you. Anyway, we've changed it to the Rob and Robbo show. Anyway, keep going.
Ben, but it's intimidation because these people are now not decorating the house as God intended. Garish and over the top.
Don't succumb to that. I got these letters from the neighbours saying either shut your curtains or wear some clothes, and I just said in the strictest of tones, back in the Gina Liano voice that I had, just don't look. And I'm not going to change my behaviour. They should put up their Christmas decorations and I'll continue to walk around naked. So, people can write their letters, they can try and intimidate you, but stick to your guns. If you want to put up a Christmas tree or you want to put up a Hanukkah or whatever it is that you're going to put up, even if it is an eyesore, do what you want. Do what makes you happy. Forget about those people, the pests.
But what's bad about this though is that it is an intimidating note, and if you've got a family and you've got someone
an intimidating note.
Well, it's anonymous, so
it's anonymous.
Sorry, Ben,
you don't know who's writing it.
I'm bringing this back to being serious. It's
I agree, Robert.
Where there were threats in it. At the end, don't do it. I think at one point they even said there'll be repercussions if you do it. If I'm a young family in obviously what is suburbia, this is North Lakes in Brisbane, and I've got someone sending a note to me like this, and I've got a couple of young kids, it is intimidating. It's not very. What are the repercussions that this person is saying? Now, obviously, maybe there wouldn't be any, and maybe it's just a little man or a little woman hiding behind an anonymous note. But it is intimidating. We've been house sitting a dog here, and she was barking a lot, and we got a note in our letterbox saying that we hope you're having a good Sunday, unlike the rest of us who have to listen to your dog's fucking barking. It's not a nice note to receive. When it's kind of like that. I think this is awful and just not something that should be taken lightly.
I couldn't agree more. Seriously, it's not funny because people, imagine, we're looking at it as a meme on the internet and you get this letter in the post and you're going, Oh my God. And the thing is, you can't even go and talk to the person because
Correct.
they don't even have the guts to actually let you know who sent it. So, like, it's nothing but intimidation and bullying, and it's quite pathetic as far as I'm concerned. We're trying to have a laugh today. It's Thursday, but I would be going more over the top. There would be more lights than Rockefeller Plaza, and it would be. I would spend every last penny I had making this house like a white hole. Like you would not be. You would get blind looking at my house. That's how.
You really are Chevy Chase, aren't you?
I am.
But don't you think though that all you need is to, obviously I'm going to use that dog barking note again. We don't know who it was, but if it was, just come and knock on the door and just say, look, just letting you know, guys, you were out today, not having but just letting you know that this is what's happening when you're away. Because if you've got dogs and things like that that's disturbing the neighbourhood when you're not home, you want to know about that. But just getting a note like that, you can't go and talk to them or what happened, how long did it go for. The same as this Christmas lights thing. What's happened? Why?
We once, when our pup was young, a neighbour called the police, and the police came round and said, the police turned up at the door and said, "Oh, we just wanted to check if someone was home." And I said, "Why?" They said, "Oh, well, the dog was barking and a neighbour thought something must be wrong." And I'm like, okay. So the neighbour, and I was home, so I knew the dog hadn't been barking all day, might have had a bit of a go. And I said, so the neighbour heard a bit of barking, decided to use that as an excuse to call the police, and they went, yep. And they said, we have to respond. And I was just like, well, I'm sorry to waste your time. They said, it wasn't you, no dramas. And they were great. They were fantastic. But I just thought it was absolutely pathetic. But anyway, let's move on. I've got a story for everything. If you've ever wondered, it is Tipsy Thursday here on the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.
That's good.
Yeah. If you've ever wondered if squirrels could get drunk just like us, it seems the answer is yes. Have a look at this squirrel throwing back some fermented pears. Well, we should have put some tipsy music to it. Look at that.
He's on the lane. Stay with us, buddy.
God.
Oh, he's not on this planet anymore, isn't he? But I think hold on, you get steady yourself, big fella.
Oh my God, that's Ben. Every time Ben gets on the booze, Ben starts falling asleep and then has that moment where
That's
he
me
wakes
listening
up.
to your stories. That was me the last segment, listening to your story about what happened on Sylvania Wall.
Oh, you can grab some.
And I was going to say, if the squirrel had fallen off, that'd be Robbo. But anyway.
I fall off that bird.
All right, now it's time for This Day in History with Robbo.
Thank you very much, Rob. Let's see what's happened on this wonderful day in history. No, just don't have the script open because I thought we were going to go to entertainment.
I did warn everybody. I did warn everybody of a slight adjustment, but anyway, no dramas.
Yes, no,
Let's
you did.
try
My
it
fault.
again.
No.
And now it's time for This Day in History with Robbo.
Oh, Robert, thank you very much. That's right. It is November 26th. So let's find out what's happened on this day throughout history. And first up, it was on this day in 1825 that the first college fraternity was founded. It was Kappa Alpha at Union College in New York. Now, at this time, fraternity membership was punishable by expulsion. So the house was located deep in the woods, and they've been gross ever since. And today was a huge turning point in world history as a huge contingent of Japanese naval carriers left their base and began to move east towards Pearl Harbor. It would take a bit over a week to arrive in Hawaii, and the following attack on the harbor then led to the US formally entering into World War II. And finally, it was on this day in 1948 that the first Polaroid camera was sold. It cost a whopping $89.75 from a department store in Boston, which, if we're talking today's money, that would be almost $970. And the camera remained the same as the prototype for another 15 years. And I've got to tell you, a lot of my baby photos, Rob, are on the Polaroid. It was a very big thing back in the early 80s, and they've made a bit of a comeback.
They certainly have. Thank you, Robbo. Well, one of Australia's biggest entertainers is upset about being snubbed for one of Australia's biggest events. It's time for a hit of entertainment with Ben. And Ben, what is going on?
Oh, One of Australia's much-loved, Rhonda Birchmore, is absolutely devastated that she's been overlooked to perform at her beloved Carols by Candlelight. Now, Channel 9 have informed the much-loved entertainer she wouldn't be a part of the lineup at the Sydney Myer Music Bowl. I know, completely devastating. I thought I'd get to the bottom of this and find out exactly what is going on. So I've got Rhonda Birchmore on the phone. Hi, Rhonda, how are you?
Hello, boys. I'm okay, sweetheart. I'm just a bit disappointed about, all of, when it is such a special night for me, and being a Melbourne person and being in damn lockdown for 9 months down here, it would have meant the world, for me to perform this year. And but the answer was a big no.
Which is so strange to me, because if you think about the Carols by Candlelight, and I'm a Melbourneite, so I've been here my whole life, and I watch the Carols every year. You are an institution, and you are you know how it is when you're in Melbourne, you wait for the people you love to see and that you know will be there. How has this happened? What did Channel 9 say?
Well, and if I could make it very clear too, it wasn't Vision Australia who obviously the charity behind. It certainly wasn't their decision, because I actually got in touch with them and I said, look, are you aware? When I wrote to Channel 9, or the producer involved, and I said it would mean the world to me, after, being part of the family for so many years, and I'm just a bit of a sentimental old fool, because my late mum, dad and sister always used to make the trek down from Sydney to here. And so, and I thought, this, and I wrote to them saying, it's such a special thing for me. I know there's going to be no audience there in the bowl, but we get paid nothing for it. But, it would be such a special thing to kind of finish off this hideous year that's been. And
sorry, Rhonda,
Rhonda,
I'm really confused here. Are you saying you went back to Channel 9 and said, I'm willing to do it for free, I want to be part of this, and they turned around and said, no, thank you?
Oh, totally, Ben. I've written to them, because if you look, I've written for the last couple of years, and I thought, oh, that's okay. They might do, obviously different people, and then I purposely made this. It's not the most beautiful letter saying all the reasons why I wanted to do it. As a very prominent Victorian and all of this thing, and I've just released a Christmas song and all of those things, and I got a very definite no. So, and that's the other thing too, Ben, as you know, and Rob, my connection with Channel 9 was hey for so many years,
absolutely.
the Don Lane Show and the Mike Walsh Show. So I am, extremely disappointed. So, and that's the other thing too, that if I could make clear. A lot of the fans out there and the people kind of go, it's not Christmas without Rhonda, and they probably think that, I just thought I would let them know that it's not my decision, that I'm not there. I've really asked it, and I think if this hadn't come out, people might just think that, oh, she just doesn't want to do it. But no, it's very, very different.
So, Rhonda, it's Robbo. If sanity prevails and these boneheads at Channel 9 get their act together, if they do come to you and say, look, we would love to have you there, we've made a mistake, would you say yes?
Well, at this stage, I'm just seeing, the online support, and especially from so many of my, fans and people like yourself, Ben, that have grown up. I would certainly change things around and be there. Mind you, I probably would need a very strong drink or a bodyguard to be with me. But I just think, especially the person, or the person that said no to me to deal with that. But so be it. I
hope that they
certainly, if there was
I hope that they do change their minds, because I'll tell you one thing, and that is if they don't have you there, I'm actually going to edit together all of the performances that you've ever done over the years. So I'm going to have a Titanic-length episode of the carols with all of your performances, and I'm going to watch that instead. And they can stick that up their jumper.
Bless your cotton socks. And that's the other thing. There's so many of my friends that, they tried, to suggest one year that it was kind of, because of my age. But it's the wrong demographic. But as you know, who were the ones that sit there in front of the telly wrapping their Christmas presents on Christmas Eve?
This is outrageous.
It's not the 16 year. Yeah, it's the families, it's my audience, it's the grandmas, it's all of those things. And I just thought this year, as I said, rather than let it sweep under the carpet, because I've really got nothing to lose. If they haven't used me for the last years, I think the Australian public need to kind of know why.
Absolutely, because it is an outrage, Rhonda. It is an absolute outrage, and I can hear the sadness in your voice. I mean, I can't be sure. It actually sounds like you're in tears telling this. I don't know if you are.
Oh, I'm kind of getting upset now, actually, because I think of all my family that are no longer here, that it was so special to them too. So, I'm sorry to be a sook, but you kind of...
No, we all feel this way.
Made me think about all of that.
Did they actually say why they're saying no to you?
No, I'd be very happy to know why too.
Well, Rhonda, we are so lucky to have been able to... Thanks for answering our call. We get some pretty big names on the show, but Rhonda Birchmore's pretty cool for us. So thanks so much for having the chat. We'll get back in. We're going to blast them. We're going to start sending emails to Channel 9.
Oh, bless. I know all my gay friends, they're devastated. And, just a lot of mums. I just think if... and I love Channel 9. It's just, I think this should be, let known that it's not my decision. It was, despite me asking.
All right. Well, thank you, Rhonda. We appreciate your time today.
Much love. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Wow. I spoke to Channel 9 today, and they have made the point, boys, that Rhonda has not appeared on Carols by Candlelight since 2010. Hard to believe it's been 10 years since she was last on it. But that I think, okay, that's fine. That's fair enough. But the lady is actually asking to come on. I would love to see her back. And I've got to be honest, Ben, I am not as committed to the carols as you are. Sometimes we have it on in the background as on Christmas Eve, depending where we are. But I always feel like she's been part of it.
Yeah, and as a Melburnian, I think we do have a little bit of ownership over that. I mean, I don't even know whether or not people love it as much as people do in Victoria, because I think we do sometimes feel a little bit like we own our state. But it is an institution here, and Rhonda is an institution for us more so in Victoria. So there's probably other states thinking, who really cares? I genuinely think the ratings for that show has really taken a massive dip, and I think that if they want to, they should bring back the stars that we truly want to see, that are the nostalgic people like Rhonda, and they need to inject some more youthful people into the show. I'm kind of a little bit sick of seeing Tim Campbell and seeing Anthony Kalia, and I love these people, by the way. I think they're great singers, but I think that the show needs to be injected with some old school nostalgia and then some new talent, and then I think maybe people might be more interested in watching it.
Look, there's no doubt Rhonda's gone on the offensive today and has gotten this story out there.
She's allowed to have her own opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. She's allowed to say why she's not there, and fair play to her. It doesn't sound likely it will happen this year unless there is some major thinking at 9 and a turnaround. That's what I'm hearing. And they are, though, open to her in future years. But she's not being mean. She's just saying she wants to come on and they're not letting her come on.
Yeah.
I just felt sad when she was crying. When you heard her voice break, I just was horrified. Sorry, Robbo, what were you going to say?
Well, just the biggest thing is I agree with everything that you said, Ben, and of course, Rob. She is an absolute talent. The biggest thing, and it is a big thing across all productions in Australia, and that is money. But she's not asking for any money. She just literally wants to get up there and do exactly what she does, which is absolutely brilliant. She knows her way around a carol. She knows her way around the show. I just get her on. Makes no sense to me.
Absolutely. Well, we love you, Rhonda. We're thinking of you, and hopefully this changes over the fact you want to be there. But for now, it's time for our random life shot of the day.
It's the random life shot of the day. Where are you going today? You never know where you'll end up with the random life shot of the day.
All right, and today we are taking you to Barranquilla in Colombia. Clear with a top of 32 degrees and a low of 25 degrees. Look at that. They've lit up that other thing, but they haven't lit up the tree. Maybe they do.
Well, it's not December yet. It's not December yet. We'll go back in
No,
December.
that's fair enough. Thank you very much, Robert. All right, let's have a look at some feedback here on the Ben, Rob and Robbo show on this Thursday. Cameron says, breaking news, BRR show is on the road. You better believe it, Cameron. We hope
and we want
see you
everyone
there.
to join us on the Gold
That's
Coast on
right.
the week commencing the 14th of December. Book your tickets
Well,
now.
Book your ticket. We can't tell you where it is, but we'll
No,
let
book
you know.
your plane
Jamie
tickets.
said,
Book your plane tickets.
oh, yes. Rob, Robbo, and Amanda need to come to Melbourne. Oh, yeah, well, we do. If
Yeah, well,
Jamie,
we
if
can
you
stay
get
at
us
Ben's.
but if you can get us
you
a sponsor,
should.
we'll go wherever the hell you want.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll go wherever you want us to go. We are up
I've
for
got so
sale.
much room.
Jason says,
I've got so much room here, so like you guys are more than welcome to come and stay at my place. Ben's not
Fabulous.
listening today,
Thanks.
so he's agreed.
Thanks, Ben. If Kerry Stokes wants to help the accused, he is best to remain silent on this issue. I agree with Jason there. Jason's talking about when Kerry is offering money to support the legal fight of those in trouble with the war crimes. Cameron says, what happened to the days when you could give your teacher an apple? Cameron, I think you're showing your age there, friend. That's been quite some time. And Jamie says, on brand, pot kettle. That was when Ben accused Rob of talking over him. It's always a fun show. Remember, if you want to share your feedback, head to our Twitter, Facebook and Instagram to search BRR Show. Robert, back to you.
Well, it's time to talk movies with our good friend and favourite popcorn lover, Joe Casamento. Hello, Joe.
Woo!
Hello! Oh my God, have I actually made it? Have I beamed in? I don't believe
You
it.
have, so
Am I
here's
here?
cheers.
Cheers.
Joe, every week I've got a friend of mine who, he loves your segment so much and he gets absolutely devastated. And he told me last week that he bites all of his fingernails off, getting so stressed as to whether or not we're actually going to get you on the show. So shout out to my friend Philip who
And
loves you on the
I
show.
both.
All right.
Oh, Philip,
Let's-
honestly, both our nails will be very chewed, let me tell you.
Let's not jinx anything. Look, Joe, I think you've been promising this one for the entire year, but you are swearing to us that Wonder Woman 1984 will be with us before the end of the year is out. Please tell me it's true.
It is absolutely true. I know it's a little like, talking about your children. They always make liars of you. But this, I promise you, I'm going to swear on my life that the superhero sequel starring Gal Gadot, the follow-up to the blockbuster, which made, I think, almost 900 million at the box office worldwide, is changing its course yet again. Warner Brothers announced last week they were going to release it Christmas Day in US cinemas. For those that were open. And we know that only about half of US cinemas are open.
Yeah.
And they were also going to simultaneously stream it at the same time on HBO Max, which is in the US. But the good news for us Aussies is it's just been announced today that they're actually going to release it early internationally to countries like ours around the world that have cinemas that are open on December 16. So we will be able to see it in a few weeks' time, well ahead of the US. And they're doing that to escape piracy concerns and all those sorts of things.
Sure.
So,
Joe,
you know,
can I ask, though, does that mean that we will only be able to watch it in cinemas? We won't have the streaming option here in Australia?
That's true, unless Foxtel picks up, because they pick up most of HBO stuff. So I imagine you will be able to get it, but probably not as early as December 16. You'll have to wait till December 25, Christmas Day. Nice present.
Yeah, love it.
It's a brilliant present, Joe. Yeah, I love the first movie. Now, let's talk about The Godfather 3. It wasn't very popular when it was released in 1990, but now it's getting a little bit more attention.
That's right, Robbo. I mean, who can forget? I think I even told you boys how horrified I was when I rewatched it with my daughter recently.
I love
with
it.
the scenes between. So you love Godfather 3, we're talking
Yeah,
about, not the
I
brilliant
love-
masterpieces 1 and 2.
Yes, I did. I actually still liked Godfather 3. I don't know what the hoo-ha is all about.
So for me, because my father's from the same island, the fact they were first cousins really kind of eked me out. In fact, there's one scene where Andy Garcia and Sophia Cola are making ravioli together, and I've never quite been able to eat that dish ever since because it kind of made me want to, I have to say, because they are literally first cousins. And I actually Googled it afterwards, can you believe, and found that 50% of marriages in Salina, in Sicily, are first cousins, which is slightly concerning. Anyway, I'm not going to go and trace my family tree. But the good news is, for those critics and those people who loved the Godfather trilogy but never felt Godfather 3 sat right and was, the conclusion it deserved, Francis Ford Coppola has remade, re-edited, remixed, redone the colour, redone the sound. He's also put it together differently in the way he always wanted it. I think we should take a little reminder, a little walk down memory lane and have a look at what he's going to do. And apparently critics are raving over this one. Mm.
We've sold the casinos. We have no interest in anything illegitimate. The church owns the Lodge Corporation, worth $6 billion.
Don Corleone, this deal can make you one of the richest men in the world.
Friends, our business together is done.
Your old partners, they're unhappy. They think you abandoned them.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
So, Joe, I'm a bit confused. Why wasn't it Coppola's vision in the first place?
Because the producers at the time argued over the edit. I think this one's slightly longer. And, often that's the case. The director's cut is often a feature, isn't it, where they don't actually get their way. So this was, there is a YouTube clip of Coppola talking about what happened to the original and how he's so thrilled to present this 30 years after it landed. So it's its 30th anniversary, and it's called The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. And that's what he had wanted it to be called at the time. So good news is it's in cinemas from December 3. So I really urge you to go and take a look, or take your, kids, if they haven't, not kids, not your age kids, Rob. I mean, teenagers and the younger generation who didn't get to experience this on the big screen. It is one of the greats. It's probably the cinematic masterpiece of our lifetime. So December 3, you can catch it at the cinemas, or DVD and on demand from December 9. So there you are. Good news for lovers of that.
I feel like everyone has this, and everyone has a series that's like this. I haven't seen any of the Godfather movies. Not any of them. Not one, not two, not three.
Is your pile of shame. It's like my laundry sock.
I know.
Stop watching but everyone has Hills Housewives. Watch the Godfather this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a go. But
look, you do Godfather, and I'll do, well, this isn't your thing, but it's Rob's thing. I'll do Star Wars. How about that?
Love it, love it. And Ben, the only thing I'm going to say is when you watch The Godfather, the first time you watch it, the wedding at the beginning feels like it goes on forever. But you've got to get past that. And I know with your attention span, you'll go, this is going on forever. Where's it going? It's all leading somewhere. It's really important. When you watch it again, it flies by. But the first viewing, because you don't know what it's all about, that the wedding really does feel like it goes on forever. But it's all worth it, my friend.
Almost like your suggestion to watch The Godfather. It went on forever.
Well, Ben, you'll laugh at this.
I got the director's cut.
When I watched it with my daughter, you got the director's cut. When I watched it with my daughter, she kept pausing on all these big-nosed women going, oh, my God, that looks like your auntie. That looks like your sister. I felt like I was back in familiar territory. And that looks like you, Mum, before you bleached your hair. So, yeah, it's very funny.
Well, Joe, I love listening to you on the Binge Box, TV Binge Box, and I know you've been obsessed with watching The Crown, but what got you to go to the cinemas this week?
Well, I do also love a British sort of funny rom-com or comedy, and Misbehaviour is out in cinemas today. It opens around the country. It stars Keira Knightley, and it's also got an excellent cast of British talent. So it's really, one of those warm and cozy kind of watches that feel very familiar.
I like
the
it.
subject matter is the 1970 Miss World competition, which saw the crowning of the first black competitor, but it was also the time of the protests by the women rights activists. I love a good Miss World. I always find them amusing. So this is no different, but it's actually a true story as well. Let's take a little look.
They must have no defects.
And if they're not pretty much 36, 24, 36,
Come on.
the curves won't be in the right places.
Miss World rehearsals are underway.
Alphabetical order, come on. Yugoslavia. What are you doing up here? That's A.
I'm the first black South African to take part. I'm the first Miss Grenada.
They're turning oppression into spectacle. Let's make a spectacle of our own. We'd infiltrate the theatre.
We've just been smoking and watching like in a heist film.
If I win, there will be little girls who might start to believe they have a place in the world.
We're black. We're not going to be Miss World.
You don't own me.
It's not you we're angry at. I look forward to having your choices in life.
I don't want you to think I'm some kind of brute that doesn't consider the feelings of women. I consider feeling women all the time.
Forget this. This competition makes us compete with each other and makes the world narrower for all of us in the end. Why should any woman have to earn her place in the world by looking a particular way? You don't. He doesn't. Why should we?
I like it. So, Joe, what's the verdict on this? What's the verdict?
Well,
Can you
look,
tell us?
there's a formula for a reason. It's not going to dig deep. It's not really going to push the boundaries that much, but it's warm and fuzzy. Any bumps are sort of, smoothed over with a good dollop of saccharin. I am going to give this one a very respectable 4 stars for the fun factor.
Ooh. Oh, fabulous. Okay, Joe, thank you very much. We will see you next week, my friend.
I'm off to lunch with Sam Jade. Enjoy on the harbour. So, you enjoy wherever you are. I'll go enjoy that.
Well, it's not a yacht this week. All right, have fun, Joe. Bye-bye.
Bye, Joe.
Thank you. Sorry, we had a little technical problem. I went to open another beer and Amanda had put the bottle opener away. So, yeah, just don't mind me. Look, it's time for a hit of entertainment and the ABC is under fire from ex-staff. What can you tell me, Ben?
Well, Rob, after presenting a all-white lineup of presenters for its flagship programs in 2021, the ABC have faced backlash for ignoring diversity. Viewers and ex-staff were quick to call out the lack of diversity across the network, with their majority of journalists, including taking some of these shows to task, which is Insiders, 7:30, ABC News Breakfast, and The Drum, appearing to be missing a lot of diversity and having a lot of Caucasian people on those flagship shows. Former Four Corners and ABC News reporter Sophie McNeil tweeted a collated picture of the broadcasters' white presenters, branding the lack of diversity disappointing. Other tweets online suggested that she really wasn't alone with this, Rob. So, guys, I just think this is outrageous that, the ABC should be, because of who they are, representing more diversity across their platforms. I don't think there's any excuse for it. Rob, we were talking about this offline. Robbo, I want to know, because I know that Rob was saying that, at the end of the day, the morning breakfast show is fantastic, and the diversity that's missing from there is fine because they've got such great quality journalists on that show. But Robbo, you've been a journalist on television for years. Sure. Well, we'll get to you in a minute, Rob.
I think
I want to know what Robbo thinks.
I think this is a little unfair. I think that the ABC is absolutely at the forefront of making sure and taking a concerted effort to fill out their ranks, whether it be behind the scenes or on air, of different people of different cultures, different colours, different heritage, different backgrounds that fill up what that industry is. I think this is one of those classic things of those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I mean, just look across any commercial network; they are a whitewash. News
Literally,
a whitewash. But the ABC is the only major media company in this country that strives and constantly tries to make sure that they have a wonderful breadth of what our community is. I think this is incredibly unfair and not some. And you're right. Like as I said, commercial networks are white, and then we should be putting more effort onto them as opposed to the one media company who strives to make it diverse as possible.
There's an easy solution here. Can you bring up that picture, please, Amanda? Here's diversity on the ABC. Look how many presenters. What has happened here? A few people have taken some of the shows, like Insiders, which is hosted by David Spears, one person, and yet they now have diversity on the panels. They've taken News Breakfast.
Yeah.
Yes, it's hosted by two white people, but you know what? It's had its best ratings in years. It's quite often beating the Today Show, and it has a diverse cast. There are so many ethnicities on the ABC. The person who presented the news section in their upfronts was of an ethnic background. You know, I think you're just trying to find trouble. Like the ABC's fighting for funding, fighting for everything it possibly can, and you're just trying to what you're actually doing for people who love the ABC, all you're doing is giving the critics of the ABC another thing to hit it with. So congratulations.
Yeah.
You've now given everyone reason for not funding more of the ABC. Well done.
But I see what you're saying there, Rob, but the
harder.
ABC is just fantastic. And they work so hard, not only just for colour or race, but from various backgrounds of life, whether you've had problems before or problems up. They're very big in bringing those people into employment, into the national broadcaster. The ABC is brilliant, and I think that they've done a really good job, and they continue to do a great job of showing a vast showcase of Australia.
Yeah. Hey, but quickly, Ben, there was a live cross that went awry.
Yeah, this is actually a little bit terrifying if you ask me, but the 9 News presenter Luke Bradham had his ute stolen while wrapping up a live cross. Have a look at this report that came out on the Channel 9 News website. This is kind of scary, but kind of a bit funny at the same time. Check it out.
Mobile phone recording Luke Bradham gives chase. The teenage thief casually driving with one hand screeches onto the Gold Coast highway, making his getaway.
Sorry, just a bit further on.
Luke clearly shaken as he recounts what happened to 9 News.
Lock your car. And if you boys are watching and you boys are listening, change your lives up, boys. It's not too late. You can do it.
So he was doing a live cross, Ben.
Yeah, he had just finished doing a live cross, and to be fair, he left the keys in his ignition. Pretty silly, but I mean, I know I've done a lot of OBs in my time, and I've actually not had the same thing happen, but I've definitely left my, when you're turning up to Robbo, you've done so many of these, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes you only focus on getting the cross done and you forget a few simple things. He left the keys in the car, the youths jumped in the car and took it away. It was allegedly some schoolies, obviously up there celebrating schoolies at the moment, and I think he did a stupid thing.
Oh, well, the perils of live TV. Look, we are at the end of the show. Thank you, boys. More details about our live broadcast on week commencing the 14th. But we're going to leave you with some highlights from yesterday where we couldn't get enough Greg Norman jokes in one show. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Greg Norman was on the beach. Someone took a photo of him, and see if you can spot why this photo is getting a lot of traction on the internet. Is that dog about to go for the bone?
It's a stick. He's chasing the goddamn stick like any old dog.
You know how some fishermen say, I caught a whopper? Greg Norman's already got a whopper. He can't run in a relay race because people will grab the wrong baton. All right. Ben, a quick thing. We're talking awards here, and you know, statues always have these strange shapes. Just ask Robbo about the Arias. But I've just literally seen on Twitter, Greg Norman has been given an award. We'll just have a look at him receiving it. Apparently, he tucked it down his shorts.
Oh, my God.
He just looks very excited to be walking his dog on the beach. Some people talk about being touched by an angel. Some people, when they're touched by Greg Norman, it's an angelic experience. But anyway, I've got a million of them, baby.
They can still be touched 15 metres away.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's big, but it's got its own postcode. But we're about to move on.